Marat,
Yes.
there's a new trend on YouTube. So right now, new style of video getting more views when people just talking, like a talking and walking head. Are you ready to try the new style of videos and get viral?
Yes, I'm always ready.
Okay. What you gonna do right now? Tell people.
Oh, by the way, it's just something really important. I don't know if you guys heard, but the current administration announced a huge bond buyback in order to lower interest rates. And this should, in theory, bring down rates because, as you know, if bonds are being bought, prices go up and rates go down. It's an inverse relationship. And actually, the 10-year Treasury is what controls 30-year fix, not the Fed funds rate, which is a common misconception for people. So we have rates going down naturally, right? Because inflation has been going down. And now the current administration is pushing on the Treasury Secretary to reduce mortgage rates. And then the second thing that I heard, and we'll see if that's going to, or I read, see if that plays out, is that the current administration is going to prohibit large hedge funds and institutional buyers from buying single family homes. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to hopefully drive up the supply or improve the inventory, right? Because everybody complains there's lack of inventory, we can't get houses, etc. So if you have more inventory and lower rates, that's going to improve affordability.
Okay. First question about bonds. When we can expect rates go down?
Well, as you guys know, markets, any market, bond market, stock market, gold market, it's always future looking, right? So typically bonds and markets move on the news. So the news came out. So we've probably already seen some improvement in the interest rates. But as they buy, as if this happens and the Treasury starts buying bonds, we're probably going to see rates going down in the next 60 days, I would imagine.
60.
30 to 60 days, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And for the history, what rates are now?
So we're about in that for conventional loans around 6%, high fives, low sixes.
Okay. And the second moment, second point about these large players like hedge funds buying houses, blah, blah, blah. Did you know that it's only 1% of market owned by hedge funds and big players? Just 1%. We're still in big lack of inventory of houses.
Sure. But
So a lot of people saying it's not gonna make any change in house market.
anything is positive. Positive is positive, right?
Positive attitude.
Positive vibes, positive attitude is positive. Sometimes a 1% change is an incremental change. So if the institutional investors are not able to buy and aggregate as much inventory, it's going to help in certain markets, and it'll most likely improve inventory. And then, of course, I know that the current administration is pushing along less red tape, right? We want to be able to build faster. How can we build faster? We want to be able to expedite the permit process. That's really the biggest thing. You know, builders always struggle. You know, I build, so I know it takes you 6 to 8 months to get a permit in some places more. And if you have larger scale construction, it can take even more. You have a lot of barriers or hoops that you have to jump through in order to build a development or a single family home. Now, I'm not saying that we should get away with checks and balances, but I think that everybody, from the federal administration to the state to the municipality, everybody can work to improve that process so that it's faster and easier for builders to build homes. And then we're going to have more inventory and it's going to be easily accessible.
Okay, about constructions. I'm from Europe, from Eastern Europe, right? And it's very, very popular in Eastern Europe. And I think everywhere in Europe to build multifamily homes and houses. But it's opposite here in the United States. A lot of people targeting, like aiming to buy a house, single family house. And do you think it is the root of issue of lack of houses? I don't.
No, you have to keep in mind that Europe and the United States are very different in nature. Europe typically is a much smaller uh, piece of land, right? So you and I came from Eastern Europe, maybe different countries now, but they're still smaller than the U.S. And it's the American dream: white picket fence, single family home, and land. Land ownership is what the U.S. has been built on. So sort of for an immigrant like myself, right? It the process I've made it. Yeah, I've made it. I'm an established person is to own a big single family home where everyone can come and family of gathering. Eastern Europe is different. It's not the same. We all grew up in a two-bedroom or one-bedroom house, and that's
Apartment, not house.
apartment, right? Condo, or not even the condo because we didn't
No,
own it. There was an
no.
apartment, and sometimes there was even like people lived in a communal where you shared kitchens or bathrooms or whatever, and that's very common in an area that's densely populated, and so there was no choice. But here we have a lot of land, right? There's
But why, in that case, why we have a lack of houses?
I'll tell you why. Because of the couple things. Obviously there's some cost prohibitive. There's money, but I think the most important for me, from my experience, is the time it takes to obtain permits in order to build.
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. We are,
Bureaucracy.
yeah, red tape. We're in Pennsylvania, okay? And some municipalities, Buckingham, Doylestown, there are restrictions to the land. Some places require you to have 10 acres. You can't subdivide anything less than 10 acres, some 1 acre. And for a builder to challenge the zoning code takes years sometimes because you have to go through the zoning board, you have to have the neighbors' approval, you have to have the congressman or councilman has to sign off on it. In Philadelphia County, you have to have an approval letter from the councilman. That takes an immense amount of time and money because you have attorney's fees, architectural, geotech. You have to get permission from the forest department or whatever it's called, tree and forest department. So there's so many steps. It takes time. Time equals money. It raises the cost of building a home, and that that hurts.
Okay, I have a. It's not a question. So what I read online. So somebody high standing, high power, somebody is making it intentionally to making house prices so high, rates so high, to force people move to smaller apartments, like in Europe. What do you think about
I
this?
mean, listen, it sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Yes.
I'm not a big believer in conspiracy theories. I think it's just it over the last few years, there's been a big jump in home prices, and that was combined with the increase in rates. So you had two pressures: price goes up, rate goes up, payments go up, affordability goes down. And then a big thing is just lack of movement, right? So if I owned a property, whether it was a first home or second home, right? Meaning I've purchased my first home or I've moved up to my next home, and I'm on a sitting on a 2 or 3% rate. Even if I have saved the down payment money to move up to a bigger home, it almost becomes cost prohibitive because then you can't spend time on vacation, or you can't have a balanced life, or you can't get the house, the second home you want, or maybe the car or college. All of the things have gone up in price, so it becomes very expensive. Like, I know for me, right, sometimes I think about moving to a bigger house, but if I move to a bigger house, my rate is going to be double, literally double, maybe more, and my payment is going to be just not comfortable. So I'm not going to move. And therefore, the person that's in a townhouse that maybe wants to move in my house, he doesn't have the opportunity, or the family doesn't have the opportunity to do it. So I don't know about this theory that you
Yeah.
have.
Okay, but it's not about conspiracy. But you mentioned before that it makes sense to put multi-family or not like apartment complex in high density areas So it's because what I see right now is insane that like in high populated cities, the lack of houses because people trying to keep townhomes in the center city, in downtown. It's like, it's stupidity.
Look, you got to keep in mind things like density and population. So if it becomes more dense, you're putting more stress on the facilities and that support people, police, fire, hospitals, trash. And sometimes people don't want to have so many people around them. Yeah, in the city of
So
Philadelphia
move
or
to
New York.
rural area, but
Yeah,
please leave the center city. I mean, it makes sense to put like 4 stories buildings in the
yeah.
center cities because it's a lot of people so usually there. But if you want like a big house, you can move to rural area.
Sure, yeah.
If you're comfortable to drive an hour.
Yeah. But I think it's also what happens is people get fixated on a certain area, and then because of the price prohibitive, because the price is prohibitive, they don't buy a house. It's very, especially with first time home buyers. So, you don't have to buy your first house for 600,000. That's just not the best use of your funds, right? And not the best use of growth. I'll give you an example. Our Muay Thai coach, right?
Mm,
He came here yesterday with his wife, and they live in Warrington.
mhm.
And the townhouses in Warrington, because they're newer, they've been built in the last 10 years, or some of them are new construction. They're in the 600s for a townhouse. That's a lot of money.
It's
It's a
crazy.
lot of money, but it looks nice, right?
Yeah, but it's crazy.
But it's a lot of money, right? That's like probably 5 grand a month in mortgage payment. And so I was trying to explain to him and his wife that I understand that 615 townhouse looks amazing, but you can get a $400,000 townhouse in a very comparable area and a comparable school district because it's important for them. They have a child, and yet your payment is going to be half. You got to start somewhere. If you're a first time home buyer, whether you're new to this country or not, doesn't matter. You have to own real estate. It's the best way to get to grow. It's the best way to save. It's the best way to have generational wealth, in my opinion. So you don't need to always. If you're a college kid, just got out of college, you just got engaged, there's a lot of houses you can buy, townhouses, condos in the city of Philadelphia or in any city you're in. And there's a lot of houses you can purchase, even a two-bedroom condo, 250, 300. Just buy it, live it in it. And then when you're ready to take the next step, when your income has grown or your
And
family has
keep it
grown, keep
for,
it. You can rent it. You
yeah.
can, or you can sell it. Most likely, if you're talking about a 7 to 10 year outlook, not a year or two, but if you're talking about a 7 to 10 year outlook, the price of real estate will appreciate, and you'll be able to utilize the equity to either tap into it to buy another home and rent this one, or sell it and buy your upgraded home. So don't hyper focus on that $600,000 house or $700,000 house. Just sort of dip your toe into it and buy. Get into the game. You can't win if you're not in the game. If you're in the sidelines, you can't win.
Okay. So it's like a short summary, right? It's like get in a game.
Get in the game. Just do it. I know we're not Nike, but just do it.